Justice Owens was born in 1949 in North Carolina.
My mom had to work very hard for everything that she had. She got really good grades to put herself through college. She overcame a lot of adversity to become what she became.
After she graduated from college and law school, she decided to travel out to the Northwest with her husband. They settled in Forks, and Susan was employed by Legal Services at that time. Eventually, she and a very good friend of hers, Karen, decided to form their own law firm until Susan was offered an opportunity to be a part-time district court judge. She also was a tribal court judge and was a frequent panelist on issues regarding tribal courts. Later, she decided that the Supreme Court was a place that she could be more valuable.
She called me and said, "Do you think that I could run for Supreme Court?" I said, "Mom, you've been a judge for 20 years. Like, why would you think you couldn't do it?" And she said, "Well, yeah, I think you're right." She went for it, and of course she won, and it changed the trajectory of her life, and she was able to have a bigger impact.
She joined the court in 2001, I believe, and served until she was aged out. It was a goal she had. She wanted to be the first woman to age out. We, the justices of the Supreme Court, we have some really important issues, and we don't always agree. You could say that it gets heated now and then. And Susan had this amazing way of speaking up with a personal experience. And suddenly everyone is focused on her story because it's a folk story from her days either in Port Angeles or back in North Carolina or one of her many adventures across the world. And she would just bring the temperature in the room down. She brought to the decision making something that was beneficial to the entire state, and that is common sense, small town experience, an understanding of the adversities that we all face in life. And she was not judgmental. She understood where people were coming from, and she just accepted people for who they were and where they were in their lives. And I think it worked its way into her opinion writing. She understood that this is real people who have to live with these opinions.
Justice Owens was a plain-spoken person. She didn't use fancy vocabulary, even though she knew fancy vocabulary, but she was never trying to impress someone. She was trying to communicate. When I assisted her in writing her opinions, she always made sure we used plain, accessible language so that anyone reading it would understand what the court was saying. That was very important to her.
When she joined the Supreme Court, she became the chair of the Fall Judicial Conference. She wanted all the judges to have the same training so that they could give justice equally and fairly across the state as possible. Susan loved mentoring, and she loved bringing young people into the profession. She also loved her law clerks. She married them. She attended their babies' christenings. I think there might be one or two that got named after her. She was on the inaugural board of the Washington Leadership Institute. She loved that program. She was with it for probably 10, 12 years.
She stood up for survivors of domestic violence, and she put eyes on that issue and continued to teach about that issue and write case law on that issue throughout her career.
My mom was always an advocate for the LGBTQ community. She really stuck her neck out there before people were willing to do so.
She incorporated having a good time into being a justice on the Supreme Court. She was the chair of the Traveling Court Committee. She loved to pick the places. She would find the entertainment. She would put the agenda together so there was plenty of time to see the scenes and to have fun.
When she was on the Supreme Court, they had these very elaborate Halloween parties. She was also very competitive and wanted to win those costume contests. She always really stayed connected to our small community of Forks. One of her favorite things to do was go to the Forks old-fashioned 4th of July. She would just walk up and down the streets of Forks and just wave at everybody and know everybody.
She just had a thirst for life. You couldn't be in the dumps around Susan. She saw the beauty in life and grabbed it. She just loved people. She was always looking for that thing that made people special, and she was able to see it and remember it and celebrate it.
Since she has passed, I definitely have heard from many people, strangers included, explain to me that my mom helped them move forward in life, or listened to them when they needed to be listened to, or gave them a second chance when they needed a second chance.
I want to say to Sonny and Owen and their families that your mother was one of a kind. You were, in her eyes, the most important people in her world. Your mother, Justice Susan Owens, during her lifetime, merited this award in so many ways. She loved you, and she will be deeply missed.
I actually didn't realize that it was the Mary Fairhurst Award. Mary Fairhurst and my mom are very close. I think they're up there right now, just tickled that this award is being given, and along with my brother and our families, it means a lot. Thank you very much.